This is going to be in English, so bear with me. I don't speak Danish at all. I was just sitting applauding to everyone. I think they're. I think they were good. I don't want to lie to you, but what I'm about to do is going to take you, I would think, a bit in a detour. It's not like anything you've been subjected to throughout this evening, and I hope it'll be, it's a message, anyways. It's not something I've done or something. It's something I've been through, and I won't introduce myself. I'll leave it to the presentation. Go. Okay. So my name is Joseph Hamoud. I am a Syrian activist. I worked as a freelance reporter for Politiken when I was in Syria when the start of the revolution. And I want to tell you a bit about Syria. If you have ever walked in the streets of Damascus, you'll hear ancestral chants talking to you through the ancient stones, history-old stones telling you stories about sultans, queens, and kings. Beautiful history. It's a fairy tale, but with every fairy tale, there's a monster. A monster that had been living there for 40 years. He took our fairy tale and forced us to live in a land, in a world so horrible, full of fear and isolation. Tried to manipulate us into staying in that world. But 2 years ago, 15 kids in Syria, they were on their school wall. The people want to topple the regime. Kids in their beautiful and innocent way of looking into life, they said, well, we don't like your stupid world. We just don't like it. We don't like your made-up world. And we remember how things used to be. They remind us of how things used to be, anyways. And from then on, these walls were a bit more free, but these kids were arrested, tortured. Anyways, the monsters have been attacking us ever since with everything they have. They tried to force us into living in that nightmare, to take us back to that nightmare again, that cold nightmare, where there's no help. They try to gain control again. But it's not working. The same nightmare that had a lot of people hurt in it. And the tragedy of it, that every day passing is hurting more people, destroying more lives. The same nightmare that made us bury people in playgrounds as if they're condemned for claiming their innocence back to go to sleep like children do, early. The same nightmare that had made this man look down in shock at his 2 children, not understanding or hoping that they're playing sleep as they always do, that they will wake up. The same nightmare that made this beauty, Reem Ismail, go to sleep. She'll never wake up from, not even with 1,000 kisses from her prince. The same nightmare that made children in refugee camps freeze to death. Hans Christian Andersen, if he had known that his story won't even only be true, but will be on a mass scale, on hundreds of thousands of kids freezing to death. On their last glimmer of that burnout match, they're looking for warmth. And warmth is not heat, it's compassion. This is what they're looking for. I met this kid, not this kid in particular, but I met a kid in Istanbul in a refugee camp. I asked him about, he was throwing a rock at an empty tuna can. He said, it's the tank that attacked my place and destroyed it. I asked him how he felt. He told me, well, I'm kind of cold. I meant to ask him about how he felt about losing his home. But, kids are better than us. They address only what is important. So I think when kids in Syria make a wish to what they think is a fallen star, I think they're just trying to get some compassion and keep them warm. Because, you know, we're tired, really tired, and we've had enough, and it's so cold in that nightmare. We just don't want to live there anymore. This guy, he used social media as this part of the social media week. He used this to raise more than 1 million kronas for people in the Horn of Africa. We're doing the same thing. We're using the same thing, Red Cross. We're doing a campaign with Red Cross. Let's do something about it. We can do it. If we text 1414, it's 100 kronas. It's just 100 kronas, but that could be the world, could mean the world for these kids. Please help us. Thank you very much.